smarter than an 8th grader from 1899? That is the question that we are going to answer today. Now, I would assume, I guess I should say, I would have assumed that basically every child born today is smarter than somebody from 1899. And then I spent over the past few years sometimes on Twitter, and I realized the amount of misinformation that comes out probably makes us dumber than somebody who doesn't know about brushing their teeth or washing their hands. I mean, we are probably at a surface level dumber from the sheer amount of misinformation. So I'm curious, student achievement in the US has fallen off a cliff, plunging to levels unseen in decades, but tests are also a product of their time. And since the first American standardized test was administered in 1845, the way we assess students as they enter adulthood has continually evolved. Take this quiz to see what students were expected to know over the decades. How do you match up? All right, it's 14 questions and we're gonna start. And by the way, you can play at home, but I'm not allowed to cheat. No reading chat. For much of the 19th and early 20th centuries, schooling rarely extended beyond the 8th grade. Exams delivered at the end of that year were often used for admission into high school. Now, when you end school at 8th grade, they call it the cliques. They were the subject of a lot of public interest and pride. The results even be published in the local paper. Here are 2 representative questions from the kind of 8th grade graduation exam that might have been delivered in 1899 in one schoolroom house. Why were states admitted in pairs for some of the early part of our history? What? They were paired? What? Okay. Who the fuck is a wig? Okay. I think it has nothing to do with slaves. Because I think too many of the founding fathers had slaves for this to have been a real concern. I don't think they were thinking about that. I don't think that was top of the priority list when George Washington would go back to his Mount Vernon estate. I don't think the East and West thing is right. I think the push westward came later. I think the Whig and Democrat is a bad answer. I actually think it's so the Senate wouldn't deadlock, because we started with 13 colonies, which is an odd number. So it's probably quite convenient that the Senate would have 13 votes. So if you went in pairs, then it would never deadlock, especially because it was probably much easier to deadlock because it's like you need 7 people on one side and 7 on the other. So I'm going to go with this. It was slavery. U.S. history. It was always slavery all the way down. Son of a bitch. Okay, hold up. I want to say I've been duped, because when they said early part of our history, I was assuming late 1700s, and now they're talking about 19th century. Okay, like what the hell? For much of the 19th century, the U.S. had equal number of states where slavery was illegal and legal. Neither the northern nor southern states wanted to see the power of their bloc. Okay, that makes sense. I guess it makes fucking sense. 19th century is 1800s, and I said 1700s, which is a different century, by the way. Just to be clear, did I not say 1700s? I didn't say 1800s. I said 1700s. Early part of our history, Bose, to me is 1792, when Columbus sailed the blue. In music, what is meant by common time? 4/4. That's a freebie. That's a gimme, bro. That's the most prevalent time signature in Western music. That's a gimme. Next are 2 questions from a 1912 8th grade examination for Bullitt County schools in rural Kentucky. At the time, the county had a population of 9,400, 1,782 of whom were children in school. State law newly required county to have a high school. Around 12% of Kentuckians over the age of 10 were illiterate. Wow, that's bad. So I'm not going to lose to an illiterate fuck. I'm not losing to no illiterate 8th grader. Through which of the following bodies of water would a vessel pass going from England through the Suez Canal to Manila? You're saying 8th graders knew this? Okay, hold up. So the Suez Canal is in Egypt. England would require you to go through the Mediterranean, then through the Suez Canal, and then you would pop out the Red Sea and the Black Sea. Is the Black Sea real? Isn't the Red Sea in the Middle East? That's too far north. Baltic is Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania. It's too far north. I think the Red Sea it's like way north of Egypt. Like we're way off because Suez Canal's in Egypt. And you'd have to go through the Mediterranean. I think you'd have to go through the Caspian because I think that's some shit Odysseus would do. And I don't think the Black Sea is real. Where's the Caspian Sea? Because Odysseus definitely rode that shit. The Caspian Sea. Oh, what the hell? It's in between Russia and the stands. Oh, is it this thing here? Oh, okay. All right, whatever. 1 for 2 is fine. Let's get back to it, y'all. I'm smart. I can get this. I'm a smart man. Let me lock in. In the election of a president and vice president, how many electoral votes is each state allowed? The amount of electoral votes are based off of the state's number of congressional districts. That's bullshit, by the way. I feel like that's some horse shit. I feel like C was close. You know what I'm saying? I feel like what I put was close and I got unlucky. It is what it is, but I feel like I got unlucky. Okay, the SAT was a part of an attempt by elite Northeastern colleges to expand their reach across the country and identify high-achieving students by focusing on aptitude rather than knowledge. However, the test failed to fully divest itself from culturally specific content, which is why you might find questions say about proverbial sayings. The first SAT was administered in 1926 and was taken by 8,000 students. 1.97 million took it in 2024. Grading all the tests by hand took 5,120 hours of work. The time constraints were intense and the students were warned not to expect to finish. Of the test takers, 60% were boys, 40 were girls. On average, the girls did better. Here are the first two questions from that SAT. Okay. Assume the premises to be true and unquestioned and judge the conclusion in relation to them. Premise. Some rapid walkers fatigue quickly. James is a rapid walker. Conclusion. James fatigues quickly. Undetermined. That's an easy one. Correlation does not equal causation. That's an easy one. That's an actual gimme. It's undetermined. There's no way to know. There's no way to know what side of the coin he's on. And I can't ever imagine an SAT answer including probably in it. That would be embarrassing. Which one of the 6 statements below tells the meaning of the following proverb? The burnt child dreads the fire. Jesus Christ. The burnt child treads the fire. Unhappy experiences teach us to be more careful. Yeah, okay. All right, there we go. Nailed it. By the 1970s, a large portion of the country was attending and graduating from high school, yet many of these graduates were struggling to find work amid the decade's economic downturn. This helped incite a panic that the schools weren't teaching students how to do basic things like balance a checkbook and mail a letter, leading to a wave of minimum competency tests across the country. Here are 2 examples, including it from an exam delivered to 11th graders in Florida in 1977. Wait, we need a 70s revolution, by the way, because we still have that fucking problem. I still feel like you go through school and you actually don't understand how to do most basic competency shit. I think this is a good bring back. You are a cashier in a cafeteria. A customer's bill comes to $3.48 with tax. He gives you a $10 bill. Which of the following would be his change? I would go with $6, 2 quarters, 2 pennies. Okay, this question was the most baby by far. This one was actually baby, idiotic, stupid, easy. One must use credit to have a good credit rating. A good way to keep a satisfactory rating is pay your bills promptly. Okay, what happened to this test? The fact that okay, this is annoying that they're fucking doing this because when I get my test results, it's going to say like 7 out of 14 answered correctly and people are going to think I'm a fucking idiot because then when they do the test, they're going to see that this is one of the questions. But the first questions were actually hard. The 1899 questions were hard. I guess in 1877 or 1977, we got dumb as shit. Like what? This is hard. In the 1970s and 80s, lawsuits and public critique began to aim at standardized tests and cultural biases and their disproportionate impact on non-white and disabled students among other groups. As a result, the test attempted to move away from questions involving presumed knowledge. The next 2 questions from are an 82 SAT. 10 people meet. Everybody shakes hands. Exactly 1 with everybody else. What is the total number of handshakes? Oh, fuck. It's 9. What is it? 1? So that's 10. That's 9. Wait, it is. I was right. Wait, it's 10 plus 9. Wait, is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 plus 8 is 17 plus 6, 7, not 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 4 is 7 plus 5 is 12 plus 6 is 18 plus 7 is 25 plus 8 is 33 plus 9 is 42. 42. Round it up, 45. Call it a day. Okay. Good answer. It takes 9 handshakes for the first person to shake everyone's hands. Then the second person shakes everyone's hands in 8 shakes. So it's 9 plus 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, which equals 45. Which is what I said. Choose the word nearest the opposite meaning of turgid. I would imagine if I took a turgid shit, it would be like a thick, strong one. So if I was choosing the nearest opposite, I would probably choose like deflated. You know what I'm saying? Like if I took a turgid shit, just based off of the word and the sound and the meaning, I would think that's a big poop. And I feel like the opposite of turgid would be a deflated poop. English major, by the way. Huh. All the haters in the chat, are you trolling? Annie By the way, your name is Annie Poops, and you're mad that I made a poop analogy. I got the question fucking right, Annie. I got the question right, by the way. Mod timer out for 67 seconds. As a minimum, competency tests fell out of fashion. A 1983 report by U.S. government commission led to push to expose students to more difficult material on tests, even if many did poorly on the assessments. This paradigm has motivated writers of the lost generation, such as F. Scott Fitzgerald, wrote books in which they criticized what they regarded as the shallow materialism of the United States during the 20s, sought to capture the freedom experienced by people living in the Western frontier, praised the quick pace in, I feel like it's the first one, yeah? I mean, if we're like, if we're talking about the first one, it's this. The Great Gatsby is criticizing shallow materialism. Yeah, okay. All right, that was an easy one. The act emerged from the University of Iowa's testing programs as an alternative to the the ACT. Its main distinction was originally its inclusion of science and social studies questions. Here are two questions from the ACT in 1996. Figure 1 shows what happens after a population of bacteria is transferred to a new growth medium. The bacteria population increases most rapidly during which of the following phases? The log phase. Or no, it increases the most during the stationary phase. Because although it's going up here, this is the amount of cell numbers. Wait, no, because it's stationary. It increases most rapidly during the log phase. Okay. Which of the following hypotheses about bacterial populations is supported by the data presented in figure 1? Bacteria require a period of adjustment before they begin to reproduce. I think it's this one. And it has to be this one or this one because they conflict. So I think it's this one. Okay, the latest NAEP scores were below pre-pandemic levels in all grades because kids are dumber than ever. And subjects, lower performing students, have been falling further behind than the higher performing ones. On the 2024 reading test, 12th graders scored an average of 10 points lower than 1992. Wow. And here's a question from the test in 2024. An article states that vertical farming was a fanciful notion only a few years ago. This means that many people thought vertical farming would be unlikely to happen because like that's how you would talk about it in speedrunning. Like zero cycling was a fanciful notion in Minecraft speedrunning, but now is like the standard route for top level speedrunners. You have the intelligence of an average American. That is the biggest fucking insult I've ever been given. That is the biggest insult I've ever been given ever in my life. Holy shit.
Oh my God. That is so insulting.
The average American. Oh my God, that's so insulting.
I had a dream last night where I was watching you give a speech at some fancy event. In the middle of the dream, my neighbor's chihuahua started barking, and so in my dream you started barking like a chihuahua. Even in my dreams, all you do is yap.
I had a dream I shot somebody in the skull. Maybe I am the average American.